What's going on, guys? My name is Skokie. Welcome back to SteezyRacing. This is the B main for the Touring Kart Championship here at Monza. I'm starting on the pole here, so coming around this corner, green flag's coming out. There's a bunch of chaos behind me in turn 1 because I braked probably a little early, but no problem. I was just doing my best to, off the start, try to run away. I knew I was pretty fast and I was going to have a shot to do very well in this race because with what I did in my last race, I was running probably like 3/10 below my PB. So if I could start running closer to my PB time, I knew I was going to run away from the field in this race. And for the most part, that is what happened. You can see I took the first lap a little defensive to try to make sure that nobody got by me right on the start because I'm honestly pretty weak in the gas karts and cold tires. I haven't really figured them out yet, so I wanted to make sure that everybody stayed behind me during my worst part of the race. And then after that, I started to push a lot harder, and I was trying to run away from everybody here. And I was definitely doing a lot better in this race than I had in any of my other races. I missed the apex a little bit there, but I missed the exit of the apex, not like right where it needed to be, so it was fine. But pretty much everywhere I am, I'm doing very well during this race. So it's gonna make it honestly a little bit difficult to commentate because I think I stayed in first place here for like 10 minutes before anything interesting happens. So spoiler alert, I'm gonna tell you kind of how it goes here. I do not end up winning this race. I lose the lead, like I said, after about 11 minutes. There's some shenanigans that go down, and then even more shenanigans go down. So unfortunately, I did not end up winning the B main and going on into A main, but I still did. I mean, I guess I didn't do great, right? Because there's only 2 mains, and I ended up not at the front of B main. But real quick, there was caution here, but they wanted us to just like keep ripping during the cautions and like just make sure you didn't hit whoever was going, so just like pay more attention, keep your eyes up. But yeah, I didn't know if I needed to slow down or not, so I lost a little bit of time there was this caution and I believe one more, just because I didn't know if I needed to slow down and wait for them to bunch up or whatever, because that's how most of the cautions go at some of the other tracks that I race at. I wasn't sure what they were going to do here, so I messed up there a little bit, but whatever. But anyway, so I finished, I think, 7th or 8th in the main. I'm not exactly sure. Something like that in the B main. You'll see that in a couple minutes. But with the points for the whole season, that left me 51st out of 57, which is not great. But there were a lot of people who I think are only going to do like the track that's closest to them. So I assume there's going to be a good amount of people that once I do the 3rd race, I'll pass, because right now basically you drop your worst week. So if you miss a week, it doesn't count against you. And there's only been 2 weeks. So I missed the first week. A bunch of other people missed the first week and only did the 2nd week. After the 3rd week, only the people who did 2 or more races are going to be kind of like up there in the standings. So that's when it'll get like serious. But I think I gained 25 points during this race here at Monza. You get 50 points for winning, and I'm like 39 points behind the leader or something now with the drop week, I believe. So I've still got a pretty good shot, or not like a pretty good shot, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to act like I'm going to come in and win this my first year, because I don't know how well I'm doing. Gave this lap car a shot here. He was the caution. I just kind of wanted to let him know I was there. I wasn't trying to push him out of the way, but I let him know I was there, and he let me by, which was very kind. But yeah, I don't want to like act like I'm going to come win this championship the first time that I'm doing it, but I think that I'm going to be a little bit more competitive than maybe even I thought I was, because I probably should have done better during this race, right? Like, I did crash out, that's my fault, but if I had finished without crashing out, I think worst case scenario, I would have gotten 3rd place in B main, which isn't great, but isn't terrible and worth quite a few points. And there are a bunch of people that are going to be showing up just to like their local track because it's a nice, interesting race at their track. So there will be people that beat you there because of that sense. But then we're going to go to my local track, the track that I work at. I'm one of the best people who runs there, period. So when I'm going to be racing mostly people who don't race at that track, but like I said, a couple, I'm going to do very well there. I assume I'm going to get a lot of points during that race. So it'll be pretty cool to see where I end up, and I'm super excited for that. Like I don't know. I think that the idea of running a whole season of points is so fun and so cool. I'm so excited to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see where I shake out. I want to see so bad, and I hope that I do well. I don't know how many people are going to be running the whole season. I think only 6 drivers have done the first 2 so far, but I don't know. There's always the potential that some drivers did what I did and just wanted to skip the first one, or maybe a couple drivers just skipped this Monza race and then are going to be back for the rest of them. So I don't know if it'll be 6 or 7 with me, or 8, 9, 10, however many drivers are in that final championship. But I hope that I am not last. I guess that's my most realistic goal. For the drivers who compete in full time, do at least 5 of the 6 events, I want to try to not be last. And I think this was an okay start. I can definitely do better, but I think that's good to have kind of a rough race, your first race out. That makes sense. So I'm not upset about where I ended here. I think I could have done better for sure, but I'm not upset about where I ended by any means. So right about here is where I started to lose it a little bit. Coming around this corner, I didn't do too bad, but I started to notice the karts that were lining up to the left over there behind me, and I started to feel the kart pushing behind me as well. So I started to mess up a little bit. I missed that apex by like 2 feet, and then I kind of missed that one too as well, which just obviously isn't great. I'm losing time, and then going into this corner, the person's right behind me. They plow into the back of me. I'm able to save it and keep the lead, luckily, but there's a little bit of a pileup behind me, and I guess there's a caution for a second, but we ended up going right back green, so I was just cranking pretty much the whole time, not worrying about it. But still, at that point, now everybody that was right behind me is even closer. That's confirmed when I come out of this corner again, and I can't see them anymore, so they must be right on my ass. And I started driving much more defensively, and I think that's where everything kind of went wrong. Because when I need to hit good laps and try to keep the lead, I went defensive way too early in this race. There wasn't enough. I mean, there was way too much time left for me to try to not drive my hardest and still win. Because these guys behind me were going to be driving their hardest no matter what. So, like, it was silly of me to go defensive this early. And, I wanted to try to start, like, cranking laps again, but when I kept, like, trying to peek back coming around corners, I wasn't able to see him, so he must have been so close to me that I felt the whole time like I really couldn't afford to go on a normal line, because there are too many opportunities to get dive bombed when you go on a normal line. On this track especially, there's probably 3 or 4, like, fairly easy dive bomb zones, especially when you're this close and clearly at this point running faster. And like I had been saying, I was very sick and just exhausted at this point. I was working my absolute hardest to try to hit these apexes, and I just wasn't strong enough anymore to wrestle the kart around like I needed to. So everything was just not going too well. I'm pretty much just trying to talk myself into staying calm, but at this point, it's like I'm not running as fast as I was earlier in the race, and I'm not running as confidently and as well. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, so like, mentally, even though I'm trying to keep myself in it, I've kind of like started to realize that I'm not in it, I'm losing it. Like, it's a losing battle that I'm trying to fight. And when I come up here, I clip this wall, which is my first mistake, and I can't wrestle it back around, and then I miss this apex here. The guy behind me ends up pushing around me and getting to my inside, so I lose the lead. Now, I figured maybe I could snap back into it. Like, I was leading this race for a long time. If he doesn't run right away, maybe I can get back around him. So I was trying my hardest to stay really close to him, and I think I did a pretty good job. We both clipped that wall there, and I think I still beat him through that hairpin a little bit, but it ended up not being quite enough, because when we came around this corner here, I got a poke from the cart behind me, and I ended up hitting this wall real hard. Did not feel good at all. And then I thought I was going to get hit by one of these other carts coming around, but they all did a great job avoiding me while the marshals came out. They were waiting for a safe time to jump out on track, which is why he was kind of walking. But he did a great job, jumped out, was super brave, and kept me in the race. I ended up only falling back to, I think, 7th in the main. I'm not totally sure. I'm going to have to double check it, but I'll put the results on screen at the end here. But once I was back into it, I started pushing hard again. I was obviously now kind of hurt, a little shook, but I got a poke from behind there, and I realized that, yeah, I'm still racing for position. I didn't fall back to, like, last place or anything, because I was cranking. I put a pretty good distance, so that little bit of time that I had put between me and the people behind me, while I lost a lot of it, it did me some good, because I was able to keep some positions and keep some pretty valuable points going into the end here. So I was still pushing as hard as I could, but still exhausted, just hoping that this race was going to end soon. I knew that it was getting close, but since it was a time race and not a lap race, it was really hard for me to tell, like, when the white flag was going to come out, when everything was going to be over. So, and I mean, I'm not sure that I would really have been aware enough to know, like, if it was a lap race. It's kind of hard to read the screen for them Monza, because you're cranking so fast right past them. So, I mean, one of them's not too hard to see, but I don't think that one actually tells you what lap you're on. I think that one just tells you your lap time. The one that tells you what lap you're on is a little difficult to see, so I don't know, I have trouble looking at it, but I'm just looking at that marshal, hoping that the white flag's going to come out so bad, because I'm still getting poked by the person behind me. I'm pretty sure I'm faster than them by a good bit, but with the crash and just the fatigue, I wasn't running as good as I could, so I was just trying my hardest to not lose any more spots, because I really do want to run well in this championship. They get to my outside there, but I go a little bit defensive. I wrapped that corner super well, probably better than I have in most of the race, and then I did really well on this exit, because seeing them beside me really was like, oh god, okay, they're coming. And then the checkered flag was waving, so we were good. Race over, and apparently it was the white flag the last time I passed, but I was like 2 or 3 seconds before, so it didn't register. Gave them a thumbs up, but they didn't see it. No. Yeah, that was it. This was super fun. Actually, I have to say, I've already raced the next race as I'm recording this. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but the Touring Car Championship has been so much fun. I'm absolutely loving it. I can't wait to continue competing. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. Love all you guys. See you later.
I hit that wall so fucking hard.